I saw a different podcast that started with show dates. I think we should start with show dates.
Okay.
I'm tired of burying how great we are live underneath an episode.
Oh, I'm plugging our live shows at the end?
Yeah.
Up top.
Show dates, baby.
Hell yeah, 420 at the Ice House in Pasadena, everyone.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Well, I mean, it's going to be hard to follow that Sketchfest show that we just had.
I mean, phenomenal.
Thank you to our guests. Thank you for everyone who came out to San Francisco Sketchfest. Thank you to a few people in particular that we will talk about in a little bit.
We certainly will.
So, show dates, 420, Ice House in Pasadena. 3/8, I'm at the Comedy Store. The last 4 days in February, I'm in Montana, Billings, Missoula, 2 other places in Montana with the Gateway Show. 3/30, I'm recording my album, 2 shows at the Hollywood Improv.
You're just saying them all out of order, and it's making me crazy, but yes.
Okay. February, end of February, I'm in Montana. No, it's nice. I'll say them as many times as, because I want people to come. February, end of February, I'm in Montana with the Gateway Show. And then we're in Alaska.
We're in Alaska. Yes, we are going to Ketchikan,
Mm-hmm.
which is very exciting in Southeast. So if any of you live in Ketchikan or anywhere around there, come hang out with us.
Please come hang out with us. And then flying back here to LA for March 8th at the Comedy Store Glazers After Party.
I'm going to walk.
Rory Scovel. I'm going to run. Rory Scovel, Paul Walter Hauser, Lisa Curry, Alex Hooper, me. I mean,
Wow.
Come on. What are you talking
Dynamite.
about? And Paul Walter Hauser is coming off getting a guitar smashed on his head by Jeff Jarrett and winning 2 Critics' Choice Awards for Blackbird with Taryn.
Holy shit.
Dude's on fire.
He sure is.
So come watch him do stand-up and then come watch me run my hour before I run it on March 30th at the Hollywood Improv, 2 shows, 7:30 and 9:30. Tickets are affordable, and I'm working on a sponsor. So if you're listening to this and you want to maybe hook a bunch of people in the
Holy
audience
shit.
up with some stuff.
We haven't even done the
hit me
intro.
up.
Come on.
Hey, I'm here to fucking buy a house in the hills.
Gotcha.
Unapologetically.
All right.
Know
Well,
what I'm saying?
good.
Good.
All right.
Sorry I'm yelling.
Well, it's good to see you, Mike. I'm glad to be here recording with you.
What up, Mary Jane?
How's it going, Mike?
Spicy. Welcome to Eat and Grub, everyone. This is a podcast about comedy,
Cannabis.
cooking,
Culture.
calling shit out.
And spicy meatballs and
calm. I'll be a little more calm.
Yeah.
I can chill. I'm just not chill right now, yo.
I feel you on that. But, you know, today's we're recording on Valentine's Day. I'm sending my Valentines out to everyone who listens to this podcast and all of the people who showed up for us in San Francisco. And hopefully we'll come to all of these fun shows that we have. You know, it's really cool to be doing live shows out in the world again. And also to you, Mike. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, Mary Jane.
I know you're a crotchety crabbity sometimes, but you're also
It's
you've
been
got
a really
big
hard
heart.
week.
I know.
Like, I'm just going to be real. Like,
Yeah.
To everyone who is listening to this and is like, damn, he is a little bit off. It's been a really hard week.
Do you want to talk about it?
Some of it I will talk about, and some of it I won't talk
Sure.
about.
What would you like to talk about?
Just
Pretend
nothing
that
yet.
I'm like
Pretend you're Peter.
Esther Perel.
Who's Esther Perel?
Esther Perel is this wonderful, I think she's Belgian. She's a psychotherapist, a talk therapist, and she does like counseling, and she has a couple of different podcasts, but she's just brilliant, and she talks to couples and single people and all sorts of stuff about like relationships and relationship dynamics, and she's just incredibly, the way she phrases things, she's one of my favorite people to listen to about like how to be in the world and how to treat yourself better so that you can be better and all that kind of stuff. And I just, you know, I think everyone would, you know, love to be more like her, feel more like her, because she works through the hard stuff in a really cool way, you know?
Is she the one who has couples on
Yes.
and then releases the actual therapy session
Yes.
that she has with those couples or that individual?
Exactly. Where should we
Yeah.
begin?
Where
It's
should we
called.
begin?
Yeah, I think that's the name of that podcast. She's fucking great.
Well,
So-
where should we begin, Esther?
Where should we begin? I'm not your therapist. Obviously, we're, you know, not going to have that dynamic in our relationship. But like I'm here to hear any of it or all of it.
No, I think that the best course of action for me for this podcast is when it does rain, it does pour. But you can create your own sunshine. So I'd rather have a really great time with you on here. And, you know, a couple of things have to do with a couple of topics that we are going to talk about on this app. So I'll openly talk about those. And other ones, if I do end up talking about it, it's just going to make me a mess. So
Okay.
I would much rather not.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
This is,
Yeah.
out the gate. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of cool stuff to get into. So where would you like to start with that?
Well, I would actually like to start with a little bit of a Valentine's gift from our friend in studio. thank you to Pussyweed, aka Natasha, who gave both of us these Valentine's Day cards that say, "You're the best bud a stoner could ask for.
That's so
You're the
sweet.
only person I text more than my weed plug."
That's
Thanks,
lovely.
Pussyweed.
Thank you, Natasha. Those are such like an old-fashioned Valentine in the mail. Come on, it's just the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you growing up make Valentine boxes and all of that? Was that in Canada
Do
as
we have
well?
that in Canada?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Do you have Valentines in Canada?
Yes, we also have Valentine's Day in Canada. And we did do the whole Valentine's thing where, as a kid, you would make an envelope out of construction paper and you would hang it off the side of your desk. And then people would put Valentines in there and you would count them at the end of the day. And it was always weird because, the popular kids would always get all the Valentines. And then, some kids wouldn't get very many at all. And the teachers would try and make sure that, everyone got at least one.
Wait, your Valentine's Day were not equal opportunity Valentine's Day cards to everyone? Like the parents weren't buying a 48 piece because there were
No.
40 students?
No,
You made each one for each person?
Yes, and then
That's so cutthroat.
yeah, I mean my school had the
Whoa.
strap, we had corporal punishment. Like it was no joke.
The strap meaning hitting people.
Yeah, the teachers would hit people. And we were, yes, absolutely.
As a lefty, would I have gotten the strap?
No, not for being left-handed, but for misbehaving, for sassing a teacher back or pushing someone on the playground. You would have to go down. The worst part was they would send you to the principal's office to get the strap, and then you had to bring the instrument of your own torture back to the teacher, who would then give you the strap in front of the class.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was a real deal. Like I don't think it happened all that often. It certainly wasn't daily or even necessarily weekly, but you lived in fear of the strap, and yeah, not everyone got the same amount of Valentines. It was, pretty mercenary.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, killer.
Because I do know, there's all those hack jokes about, these new generations, it's a participation generation where
Sure.
everyone's a winner.
They're all soft or
But
whatever.
it's Valentine's Day. I feel like everyone in the class should get a Valentine from everyone else.
It's true. Everyone should receive love on Valentine's Day. It shouldn't necessarily be about romantic love. It should just be about giving each other kindness for sure. I remember counting the Valentines that were in my little construction paper envelope and feeling like I was solidly in the middle somewhere. Like I wasn't a super popular kid, but I also, didn't suffer. Like there were a couple kids in my class. I remember Danielle and Brian. There's always one girl and one boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Danielle, I really felt for because she at one point in grade 2 or 3 came to school and we put our mittens on the radiator to dry from the snow, and her mittens smelled like cat pee, and it suffused the whole definitely not her fault. Nothing she was in control of. It obviously happened and she hadn't noticed, and
all these stray cats poured in the window.
no, it was just horrible.
Ugh.
I remember everyone was so mean to her after that, and they
of
just
course.
said terrible things to her. And then I can't remember what Brian's totally non-issue was that he did that everyone then fucking piled on him for. But yeah, people were mean. People bullied people.
That's really wild. I went by Brian. I've told you that before because
Yeah.
I hated the name Michael, and so I had Spike was my nickname when I hung out with the dudes.
Yeah.
I went by Spike, and when I hung out with the chicks, it was Brian, because I thought
Brian.
that was a popular, cool nickname.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Austin Green style, 90210 style.
Okay.
I feel like every Brian is hot.
Yeah.
Danielle's a tough one though. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the name Danielle. I've always thought it was so beautiful. I really wanted it to be called Cordelia, though.
That's cool.
I was like, that's a fairy tale name to me.
Yeah.
I was like, if only my name was Cordelia, then maybe Jason Auchenleg wouldn't punch me in the face and give me 2 black eyes.
Jason.
fucking Auchenleg, man. He
Yo,
was
if we're
real
gonna
mean to me.
name elementary names this
Yeah.
episode, let's do it.
Jason Auchenleg gave me 2 black eyes.
Okay.
And also there was another kid whose name was Mike, actually, and I can't remember his last name, but he...
Well, I just had a moment where I felt like Esther or whatever her name is.
Okay, and then Mike. This kid named Mike, who was probably, I think he was maybe even a teenager. He was definitely 11 or 12, and he grabbed my, I think it was my blankie, and I was a little kid. I think I was 5 or 6, and he was trying to get it away from me, and I held on to it, and he dragged me up the sidewalk, and my t-shirt came up over my chest, and my pants came down over the tops of my thighs, and my whole front was, when you get those kid scabs that are they feel like brick because they're so thick and hard.
100%.
I had one of those, but it was my stomach.
Oh, wow.
I vividly remember these, yeah.
May I propose, though?
What?
Props to you for not letting go of what is rightfully yours and fighting
was
for what you believe in.
Never letting go of that
That,
blanket.
at the end of the day, those battle wounds, I think, show a lot of bravery.
I was tenacious. Thank you. Thank you. I was not letting go of it, and I also was not going to listen to Jason Auchinleck when he told me not to touch his bike or he'd punch me in the face, and I touched it, and boy howdy, he punched me. And then I touched it again.
Yeah!
And he blacked my other eye. So I don't even know how we got on all of this, but
That's unbelievable.
yeah, Valentine's and
You are
school were
tenacious.
yeah, I was pretty tenacious.
What we did in our Valentines, we never made envelopes that we hung on the desk. I'm picturing like glitter and stickers and crayons and colors. We took shoe boxes, and you got to make the shoebox whatever you wanted. Some people wrapped it in paper and colored on it. I wrapped mine in aluminum foil and then put aluminum foil wings on each side and made like a plane out of my shoebox. Like you could express your shoebox Valentine's Day love, and then that was like a fun thing to have on your desk all day.
Nice. And
like
then
a little
was
bit
like
of
a little
identity.
slot in the top where people would push Valentines, and then everyone gave everyone a Valentine, is what you're saying?
I don't know about that.
So if like you're in a class of 30, you bring 30 Valentines and you give one to each of your classmates?
I think that my parents did that. I don't know if that was like standard, but I do remember having to sign something to everyone and going down the list, and writing everybody's name on each one. And, you sneak a lot of like honesty into the ones you actually care about, and the other ones you're just like, happy V, like you do V-Day because you don't really mean it.
Ugh, I don't want to write the whole thing out.
Yeah.
Well, this tracks because your mom sent me a Valentine.
Wait, really? I just checked my mail when we left, and I didn't get it.
Your mom sent me a Valentine. It was so nice. Like after hanging out with your family at Christmas, I feel like I know them a little bit now, and it was just like so kind. It was the only Valentine that I got in the mail. And Natasha's too. So I opened it was a red envelope, and I opened it up, and it was a sparkly card with hearts, and it said Happy Valentine's Day, and it was signed from your mom and your whole family in St. Louis, including Riley the dog. And it was just so sweet. And thank you, Wendy. It really made me feel good. And I also spoke to my mom today, which I don't do all that often. So it felt very like, my heart felt full today.
That's awesome.
Chatting with some fam.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was real nice. I'm sorry, your mom. I bet she sent it to you and it just hasn't arrived yet. Maybe your mail didn't come yet. My mail comes at weird hours. My mailman probably had that thing in my mailbox at like 4 o'clock this morning.
I know you're trying to help.
She didn't send me one and not you one.
Hey man, when it rains it pours, and I don't think I got a Valentine's Day from my mom.
Well, I will give you a Valentine to make up for it.
I know she sent it. I'm sure it's in the mail.
Okay, good.
I do enjoy the fact that mine is late.
Yeah.
And yours arrived on time.
Well, that tracks with your weird week, right?
Yeah,
Of all the
I can't keep bringing up the weird week if I'm not going to talk about it. So can we just drop the weird week? Is that okay? Because I feel like the more I bring it up, the more people are going to be like, just say it or don't say it. And so I'd rather not say it. Okay, cool. Because it's all too much.
Got it.
So with that being said, I did also want to do one more plug while we're at it. Friend of the show, friend in real life, Brian Wohl. Mm-hmm. He and Lou Burger, which is a handful of guys from Try Guys, they sold out their off-Broadway play. They're in New York the next 6 weeks. Brian Wohl is opening for them, and the whole thing sold out before they even flew to New York. So for the next 6 weeks, they're off. Brian Wohl is performing off-Broadway, and before he's off-Broadway, he and his amazing wife Alyssa are resetting in Mexico before that they part ways for a month and a half. So I just want to shout out Brian and everyone on Lou Burger as well, because it's just so exciting to like write something and then have it be picked off Broadway and then sell out the entire run before you even open. That's
fantastic. I hope I can get to New York to see it, but if I don't, I hope they get picked up an extended run and they go on tour. And also, can I just say on pod that Brian's wife Alyssa is a peach. Mm-hmm. She's like an exemplary, sweet. I saw her. I only met her that once at their wedding.
Yes. Yeah.
And then saw her when they came to your show, and Brian was on your lineup at the Comedy Store, and she was so just like radiated warmth, and she's just lovely. So
when all of us went to see Fred Durst in a jazz club, which is a fun sentence to say, afterwards we all went back and smoked at their place, and she has all this cool taxidermy. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just like smoking joints, wrestling is on TV, and she's showing me all of these like butterflies in jars and birds that are taxidermy. Just a cool ass couple, a cool ass person. So look, it's a V-Day episode. I'm gonna shout out some love. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah.
And not talk about the weird week.
Well,
Couldn't let you get away with it, Mike.
I know.
What else do we got to get through here? We got a couple of products to talk about. Are we going to talk about this cannabis lube that you're opening up?
I've never used a vibrator on my taint before.
Okay.
But I guess I could try it.
I don't know what it's going to do for your taint.
Well, isn't that like isn't the taint, the taint is like a drawbridge to the perineum.
The
right?
taint is your perineum.
No, what's inside? What's the inside tap?
The prostate?
The prostate.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so the taint is a drawbridge to the prostate.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm there yet.
Good to know.
I don't know if I'm there yet.
Okay.
But Lavinia sent me this Valentine's Day box, and in it is white chocolate, a little bit of chocolate for V-Day.
Gelato live resin white chocolate cereal bar.
Yeah.
Ooh, that looks good.
And some lip balm, which I'll never use
I'll
because
use it. Hand it
okay,
over.
then that's yours.
Thank you.
I'll never use. I don't like sunglasses touching my ears.
Yeah.
And I don't like chapstick or lip balm being on my lips.
So you're just blind with dry lips.
Is he a catch?
He's
No.
Sunblinded with flaky lips. Mike Glazer. Ladies, get at him. Give him a big old smooch with those big flaky lips. My lips are soft for anyone who's, interested in knowing what my pucker is like. It's sweet and supple.
Wow.
All right.
We really are the Abbott and Costello of cannabis comedy.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to crack open this
Yeah.
lube and see how it feels?
I do.
Okay, and then they sent this thing. Also, we are on YouTube, everyone. Will you please go to our YouTube?
Yeah.
Subscribe. Watch the videos. Honestly, it'd be great if we could get our YouTube subscriber up and our TikTok up. Our TikTok is at Mike and Mary Jane, and our
Yes.
YouTube, I think, is at Weed and Grub. If we can get those numbers super fucking high, that would be a really big deal.
And you can see us at Petty Cash Studios. And today we're recording in front of this beautiful... Oh, did you just turn on that vibrator? I was just going to say... We're recording in front of this beautiful wall of vegetation and foliage, which is actually the backdrop for our friend Liz's podcast, Send Us Flowers. Check out that pod. She does like product reviews and talks to people in the cannabis industry, largely women who are doing like great work in the cannabis space. So,
your episode was great.
Yeah, thank you. I had a
You
really
really
good time
need
with her.
lube to open that lube, huh?
I can't open this goddamn lube because it's like child-proof packaging, which makes sense. But anyway, I'm just going to hold it up. Oh, hi. It's great. I'll crack into it later with a hammer and tongs.
Like you're in the bedroom and everything is like really getting ready, and it's like we'd like that like little extra slipperiness, and
then
then
you just hear the drag of an anvil, and then you see a spark. What is she? Oh, she's opening the packaging.
isn't there that movie with the soldering where it's a woman who solders and
Flashdance.
Flashdance,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's you in a Flashdance spark mask.
Yeah, she's a hot ass welder, Jennifer Beals.
Jennifer Beals,
Great movie.
And then this little thumb-sized vibrator.
Okay, that's the size of whose thumb? That's a giant thumb.
Shaq's thumb.
Yeah, that's a pretty big thumb. Did you just turn it on?
Hold it down.
Oh.
That's intimidating.
That feels like it would really work. Oh yeah, that's got some good. If you're not going to use this, I would take. Whoa. Wow, I just turned it up. Okay, I
Well,
gotta
Mary
turn
Jane, happy Valentine's Day from me.
I've achieved liftoff. Oh my god, it's got like 5 settings. I can't turn it off. This is very embarrassing.
Your cheeks are so flush.
I need to turn it off. How do I turn it off? Okay. I'm gonna have a good time with that if you'll let me experiment.
Your lips just shook a little bit, and I immediately saw like an OnlyFans called Mary Jane.
Well, that's a very good time. What a great package.
For you.
Well, thank you for
You're
sharing.
welcome.
Yeah, I'll certainly.
I don't know why dudes aren't into
report back.
vibrators.
Well, I'm sure there are things you can do as a man with a vibrator. But for
Totally.
women, the clitoral stimulation is really key to us coming.
Mm.
Whereas for a dude, it's really more about the friction, like the squeeze and tug, right?
Oh yeah, on the shaft and on the tip.
Right.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah, but then the prostate makes you have harder orgasms if it's also a part of the mix.
Okay.
I'm talking from American Pie experience only.
Okay.
I'm only talking from Stifler
Okay.
experience. I've never had I've never had that type of orgasm before.
Okay.
And so I don't know if it's true or not, but I assume it's true because like science writes about it.
Sure. Well,
then-
you have the thing that can help you figure it out.
No,
right there
this
in
will
that
get
vibrator.
lost. Are you out of your mind?
Oh yeah, that's true. You shouldn't put up. No, don't put that up. your
No,
butt.
this is the kind of thing that then you have an X-ray in the ER.
Oh my god!
And you have
it's
to
always,
explain it.
Every year, there's a list of the craziest things that doctors found in someone's butt, and it's always like a Hot Wheels car, or like
Yeah.
like an entire butternut squash or whatever. It's just Crazy. Well, that's great. Congratulations on getting a package full of sex stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much to KMA Agency for all of it.
Nice.
But again, this is a vibrator for you. It's too dangerous for me to have this. Also, I can't. My balls are so sensitive that I can't even. I used to. Speaking of being in elementary school, you know the spinny carousel thing that you would play in recess, or the seesaw.
Yep.
I could never do them because they made my balls hurt too much.
Oh my goodness.
Like the up and down motion, like a roller coaster, it just makes my balls like roll into my Adam's apple, and I can't do it. And so I imagine that vibrator is gonna make my fucking clangers bang too hard. And so
I will confiscate it.
Yeah,
and
I would take that away.
And enjoy the clang banging by myself.
It's like, what construction is she doing every hour
On the hour?
On the hour.
Well,
watching Law and Order and doing construction?
Speaking of like sexy things in love and good times, can we talk about our show at SF Sketchfest a little bit and get into some of the things that happened, you guys? So we actually did get a recording of the whole show, and we are going to drop it, I think, on YouTube, but it's like watching theater on video. It's like you can never capture the sort of like experience of being in the theater. We hotboxed the venue. Someone wrote on Instagram that it was low-key the wildest show at SF Sketchfest because, Sumo Snacks came through and gave us so many treats and prizes to give away.
100-milligram bags of edibles to give to the crowd.
All of the different flavors with the Snoop Snazlos and the spicy Snazlos and the classic cheese. And just go check out Sumo Snacks. They're great. And they hooked us up with a bunch of product to share with our friends. And we had incredible guests, Katrina Davis, Vanessa Gonzalez, and Jordan Morris, who were so fucking funny. And the show was just great. We played games, and it was such a good time. And then, like, to top it all off, the cherry on the motherfucking Sunday, we had a proposal.
Unreal.
A marriage proposal on stage that we couldn't have planned better for how it went off, because
when we post this picture on Instagram, you can see Katrina's face,
yeah,
Jordan's face, my face, your face, and Vanessa has one of those like kazoo blowers in her mouth, and everyone is gobsmacked, and rightfully so, because
the way it rolled out,
it was unbelievable.
It was crazy.
Wow.
We were playing games, so like every guest would sort of do a bit of stand up, and then we would chat with them, and then we would play a game where they would play for the audience.
An interactive game that had to do with one of the senses, because when you're stoned, it's very fun to touch, taste, smell, see, and hear.
And it was like a great time. We came up with some really goofy games. We had like, what the fuck is that sound? Or, identifying like a zoomed in detail from a classic stoner movie. And we were doing the one that was after What's That Sound, which we had just played for the audience. And Katrina won the game, and she was playing for someone in the audience who came up on stage. And this lovely gal comes up on stage, she accepts her prize of Snazlos, and then she says, and another thing, turns around, whips a ring out, and says to her girlfriend, who's in the second row, Jenny, will you marry me? Holy macaroni.
Holy macaroni in a pot. Holy
macaroni. And then Jordan was like, what would you have done if you hadn't won? And she didn't even have an answer. It was like she just knew that she was going to get up on stage somehow. And she did. She manifested that shit. She won the game. And then she sat down. We interviewed her for a few minutes.
Allie.
Allie is her name. We'll drop that some of that short little chat with Allie on our shorts and YouTubes and Instagram, so you can see her and how lovely she is. And she was like, I just love the pod, and I was so excited to come to the live show, and this is where I wanted to do it. So we had a marriage proposal.
The craziest part for me leaving the show after hanging out with Allie and Jenn was realizing that we weren't the main characters at that show.
Yeah.
Like, we were all in Allie and Jenn's world that night. Like, we thought that we were the conductors of ceremony. We thought that we were the ones performing for everyone else. But really, Allie's over there pulling the psychic strings the entire time, getting selected by Katrina, getting up on stage, winning, and proposing, and now they're fiancés. Mm-hmm. And, like, the idea that, like, we were what's that called? Co-stars.
Totally.
In their moment is so fantastic.
We were the backdrop for that moment of their lives, and I couldn't be happier or more proud or grateful. Like, truly.
Yes.
Thank you so much for choosing our show to make that fucking happen. It was great.
It was unbelievable. And they did say yes, by the way. And yes. I'm so sorry, I'm blanking on their other friend's name. Jenny, but no, Victoria.
Vivian or Victoria? A cool V name.
A very cool V name. My apologies for one, not getting out my phone, because if I look at my phone, the podcast is over. and
Off the rails.
and the really fun thing too that I remember from that moment was as Allie is coming up on stage, she's climbing over their friend and also hands her this really cool bright turquoise disposable Polaroid camera. And I was like, oh, she wants to get her picture on stage winning. And then all of a sudden, when she turns around and proposes, right up there, boom, gets the Polaroid. And I was like, oh, this whole thing was planned to a T.
Such a good friend. Just good vibes all around. It was fucking great. I mean, honestly, yeah. We went to a party later that night, a very cool like industry party that we somehow managed to get into.
The dude from Mythbusters, Adam Savage.
It was awesome. And so many cool people there. Had a great time just like being in that workshop and looking at all of the cool stuff from Mythbusters too.
No. This is where I'm coming in hot.
What?
Too many people were crowded around the pizza. I couldn't get a slice.
Oh, well, that's your problem there.
I couldn't get a slice.
You were hungry, Mike.
I was very hungry.
Yeah.
When you're in a party with highfalutin folks, maybe you don't want to eat. Maybe you're like a little nervous to like wolf down a couple slices. But at one point, man, between all of the weed and the whiskey, it was time to get some crust in my mouth. And by then, it was all gone.
Oh,
and so
man.
you know, I even the creme de la creme of the Sketchfest community are pizza hogs.
Wow.
And I'm saying it here.
Well, I had a great time because I hung out with just Katrina and like just yucked it up. And in a true starstruck moment, I met Jason Ritter.
Whoa.
And
whoa.
Yeah. And
you are a massive fan of his father as well.
Massive fan of John Ritter's work. And so to be introduced to Jason at this party and just chit chat with him, and he was like, you know, what were you doing? And he'd been there doing a reading of a new pilot. Or a TV show. And I was like, oh, I have a podcast. It's called Weed and Grub. And then people around were like, oh my God, we heard about that show today. Didn't you have a proposal on stage? And I was like, yo, I'm at the coolest party at SF Sketchfest with all of these amazing people. And they low-key have heard of our podcast because of like the show that we had today. That felt really fun and great. So Jenny and Allie, you blew us up in a real way. Even like there were so many fun elements of the show, but like I said, that was cherry on Sunday.
That's so awesome. And also, Jason, if you're listening, you're not a pizza hog, buddy.
Yeah. I'm like,
no one's a pizza hog. I love all of you, and I'm sorry.
Mike is a nice guy, everyone. He's real nice. Can I just say, Jason Ritter's a very fun follow on TikTok. He had a great TikTok about cleaning out his fridge because his wife had been out of town, and he's like, she's coming home, so I got to like clean the house and get everything kind of nice for her. I'm so excited to see her. And he's cleaning out the fridge, and he's smelling things before he throws them away to see if he should or not. And it's just classic comedy. He's like smelling arugula and then doing like, it's great. It's real fun. He's a good time. So follow him on all the things.
Wait, we cannot.
Not like he needs my fucking help, but
We cannot forget the other part of Sketchfest.
Oh.
There might be a cherry on top, but there is a marmalade swirl all over the ice cream.
Yes, there's a marmalade base.
There's a marmalade base.
Stuart! Our friend Stuart, we have been in contact, I feel like from early on when we started this podcast. We started corresponding with Stuart, and Stuart was like, I think he got in touch maybe about something that we talked about that was Scottish initially, because he's Scottish.
Yeah, well, the things that come to mind are we were talking about kilts and crests. And we were talking about Iron Brew.
We were talking about tartans.
And tartans.
Maybe he got about, yeah. So he, a long time ago, sent us a beautiful care package of Iron Brew and his homemade marmalade. And he also sent us a candy, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was like kind of like a homemade fudge. Stuart, I'm so sorry, I'm forgetting what that's called, but it's just like.
And I don't remember because I don't think I actually got any, Mary Jane. Well, she's taken my vibrator.
Yeah,
she's taken my fudge.
Just send it all to me, guys.
She's taken my mom's Valentine.
I'm here to receive the Valentines, the vibrators, and all the marmalade. So Stuart came to our live show and brought us Iron Brew and marmalade, and we got to say hey in person, and it was such a cool and surreal moment to just meet someone who we've truly been in touch with for years now.
Years. It was so great because the best part about like meeting people who I'm so excited to meet is at first you don't want to be the weird person and be like, Stuart, and then somebody turns around and you're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
And so he did that beautiful move that I wish everyone would do, where he just came up and goes, hey Mike, I'm Stuart. Like all the initiative in the world, which put all my defenses down, and it felt so great because then I can just like give him a big hug and mean it, and there's no tiptoeing about who's who or what's your name and da 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 da.
Lovely.
And then he just pulled a bunch of marmalade out of his bag.
And we have some here. I want to try it on pod because it's
We
like
have to.
we got to talk about how freaking delicious it is. It's we each got a giant mason jar, and thank you, Mike, for smuggling this through airport security. I feel like as we were going through security, we were a little concerned that we were going to get flagged, but that TSA agent was like having a day, and so they just didn't even notice that you had what could have been liquid explosives in your sneakers.
It did look like, I mean, look, this is either a bunch of dabs in a jar.
That looks like some major fucking hash oil with a bunch of like chunks in it.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah.
Yo, that TSA agent, it was so funny because as soon as we put our bags down, there was like an emergency and they all ran away. And it just seemed like our bags went through the x-ray machine without anyone. I know someone was there, but it truly felt like they were like, you guys are pre-check. Get out of here.
It definitely, yeah, it felt a little crazy. It was.
So this is orange marmalade. This is cream corner officially, right?
Yes,
we can say this is our cream corner. Okay.
This delicious marmalade, which I think Stuart told us he makes with trees maybe from around, like I think these are foraged fruits, like not bought.
You can really see the rind.
You can see the rind. It's a really like a classic marmalade.
Okay.
Oh my God. It just makes my heart sing, you know?
Yeah.
It's
Seriously.
like a truly magical thing. Homemade. You can taste like the perfect balance of it's tart and sweet in the most wonderful way. And the rinds are like soft, so it gives a little bit of texture, but
like
then
candy though.
You're not
They're
biting into them
Yeah.
like it's not resistant.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Stuart. Sorry everyone's having to listen to us eat, but we had to try it on pod. I love it.
Most marmalade, I've only had Stuart's homemade marmalade, and outside of that, it's always been like a Smucker's or some kind of preserve. And I've always kind of had to buy like either low sugar or something for that because it just tastes insane to me. This is so perfectly balanced, like you said, because it doesn't have whatever those jars of factory have in them. Like this
like
is
corn
like
syrup and
corn
stuff.
syrup. Yeah, probably.
I'm
That's
wondering
so good.
too if this would be
Archie.
good with like almond butter and like a marmalade and almond butter sandwich, like kind of PB&J style situation.
Well, Mary Jane, if you're sitting down, I can reveal to you.
What?
Please don't get mad.
Uh-oh.
I cracked this jar earlier.
Yeah.
And I made a smooth peanut butter and marmalade tortilla wrap.
Fuck this, man.
You out?
Yeah, I'm out of here. It's been nice.
It's been nice.
It's been a good time, but how could you? You had a sandwich I didn't know about?
I snuck in a sandwich without letting you know.
That's grounds for, I don't even know. No, that's great. I wondered why the jar was like.
No, I was looking out and I was like, God, she's on her way. I know she's picking me up. I better hurry
over.
and hide this.
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to try.
I forgot about the old days of this podcast when you were threatening to put a nest in my fridge in case I had leftovers that you didn't know about.
I need to know what snacks are at your house at all times.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not controlling.
Like,
it's not a controlling move at all.
If we were to like pitch something to Stephen King, it's like Misery, but it's mostly about snacks.
It's just about what food Mike has in his fridge, and and she's in control.
And he likes
You
it.
dirty bird. I had for the first time in many years. I can't even remember the last time I had a peanut butter style sandwich because I can't have the peanuts. But I went on a hike with our friend Lauren, and she at the top of the mountain whipped out a almond butter and jam sandwich. Was so satisfying after hiking to the tippity top of. Are you giving me coffee?
If you need a sip.
No, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, it was great because I had fucked up on the snacks. Normally my snack game is strong with the hiking, and I'd really blown it that day, and I only had like one chomp beef stick from Trader Joe's and like some almonds, and then she whipped out these almond butter and jelly sandwiches and bags of Cheez-Its, and if she weren't married I would have proposed right then and there. Fucking great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This marmalade also makes me reminisce about my mom's cooking. One of her best dishes that she made is apricot chicken.
Ooh.
Have you ever heard of that before?
Yeah, sure. I think so.
It's like it's almost I'm gonna misremember it. Excuse me. But it's like we were a chicken breast family.
Okay.
I'll just get that out of the way right now.
Sure,
You
yeah.
know, like
I get it.
a Midwest chicken breast family. A chicken thigh never crossed our plates.
Dang.
I was raised thinking that they were disgusting and gamey and
Whoa.
really like untasty.
How far you've come.
How far I've come. So we were a chicken breast family.
Okay.
But what she would do, I think, was take like a jar of Smucker's apricot jam and cover the chicken in it and then throw it in the oven, and it would get this crystally, gooey, melty kind
Yeah.
of glaze over the chicken, and that would be the seasoning, would be that apricot jam over it.
Wild.
And well, it tasted amazing.
Yeah.
If I were to eat it now, I might punch that up a bit because, you know.
Sure.
But for the time and for the money we had, apricot chicken was a real treat.
Wow. I got it. Yeah, like candy chicken.
Candy chicken, totally.
Amazing.
Also, I might be making the wrong fish move with this, but I think like jams and fish go really well together. Like
No.
like trout.
Nope.
A
No. I'm not putting marmalade on my trout. I'm not. No.
Grr.
No. Citrus goes with fish, great, but not. I don't want marmalade.
You
Not
don't think like a
sweet.
sweet marmalade would go with a fish?
You know what? There's scallops maybe with like a little quince paste.
I can see that
something
'cause of
like
the sweetness of
The
the
sweetness of
scallop.
the scallop. Yeah, there used to be. I worked at a restaurant that had a dish that was delicious. Unfortunately, it was foie gras, which I don't think I can ever eat again. On knowing what it is, but I'm so glad
Slide
I've
it
had
my
it.
way.
It's delicious, and it was foie gras with scallops, and I think there was like maybe a sweet citrus involved as well. So. I mean, okay, but I'm not putting marmalade on my trout.
The euphemisms.
I am not doing it. You hear me? Also, shout out to Tomas, who came through for us at the show, and Reggie, who sent Tomas our way. Oakland Hyphae. If you're not following Oakland Hyphae, follow them. They are doing the fucking coolest work for the community with psychedelics in Oakland. And like the group of people that they have assembled as friends and community organizers and educators, like they're just, every one of them is stellar, and follow them and like fuck with all their events. And they have the psychedelic conference that we went to. And
Yeah, if anybody is in San Francisco who went to our live show and is listening to this app because it's after the live show, check out Oakland Hyphae on Instagram and go to their events in Oakland, DC, San Francisco.
yeah, all over the
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
And
Especially if you're in the mushroom, if you're interested in the mushroom game, it's
fascinating.
it's the best place to be.
And I've learned the most from those educators. Like they're just really, there's a someone who I follow on Instagram who was at that event called Mycosymbiote, I think is how, and his name is William Brown, I believe, and he's just doing like crazy cool mushroom education about like foraging and growing, and like it's just really neat. It's not like these big psychedelics conferences where it's like a bunch of like talking heads on stage talking about like investing in the psychedelic space. It's like people who are like on the ground organizing and growing and foraging and doing nature walks, and like about how psychedelics and psilocybin specifically are for healing in the community. They're great. I love them.
Can I get to something personal about that?
Sure.
How was round 2 of ketamine?
Oh, my healing with psychedelics journey is really in an interesting place. I kind of want to keep it personal until I've sort of like done all of the sessions. I have a total of 4 sessions and I'm halfway through now. But again, thank you for being my trusted ally. And this time around, so I did it for anyone who's listened to the pod from a couple of weeks ago. I had done my first session and had a really interesting time, and especially kind of like learning about how doing it in this very specific setting with like an audio kind of landscape and an eye mask, and having fasted before in this like intentional sort of medical way. I'm really learning a lot because I've always used psychedelics for healing in my own way, in my own kind of intuitive way.
And I've always used it for partying.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've certainly done that as well. I've done my fair share of that. So this was really great. Round 2, I think I was like, I was wondering if it was going to be, I was sort of trying not to measure it against round 1 while it was happening.
That makes sense.
Sort of like using because the first time was very, very intense and very illuminating. And when I went into round 2, I was like, I hope it's the same. Then I was like, let go of that. You got to let go of literally every expectation, because you will trap yourself in sort of a place where you're not going to be able to get past that. And so I really spent the whole time letting go, and a totally other time bubbled up and new things that I needed to know about. So it was very cool. And I'm excited to carry on. And, again, thank you for like coming and hanging out with my animals while I did it. It really means a lot to have a trusted ally.
It's cool that you asked me. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I want to just continue to market as these
Yeah.
episodes go on and you continue
I'll
through the
continue.
process.
Yeah, and then I think, when it's all over, like I definitely am interested in writing about my experience with it and letting people know. I was talking to one of my very, very good friends about my first experience, and she was saying that she wishes she were able to do it because she needs the kind of experience that I was telling her about. But she didn't feel like she was able to for certain reasons. She was like, maybe I just need to talk to you more about it and feel like I'm more like this could be for me, because she's just really nervous about taking a powerful psychedelic because she doesn't
Yeah.
mess with anything. She's 100% sober. So yeah, I'm happy to sort of like do my part in talking about it as someone who is just on that journey.
The medical journey hopefully gives a lot of people a alternative route to a
Yeah.
lot of pills that I was almost prescribed recently, and I
Ah,
was like, nah, I'm good on all that shit, but thank you, but
yeah.
no thank you.
Interesting.
So I completely understand the fear of the unknown when it comes to something like a huge dose of ketamine. I
Right.
also would say I have no interest in opioids, however you say it, ever. So that's
Right.
my big fear. Like, I will gobble up the ketamine and ask you to be my ally way
Well,
before
but they're
I
for
do
very
the other
different
thing.
things. I'm imagining that you were
Not
offered.
to me,
No, but
yes,
they're for physical pain.
I
Is what you're
know,
talking about,
but
right?
to me, the fear that that person might be feeling
Oh,
is
I see.
for me the
You're
idea
afraid
of
of
like
the.
a pharmaceutical.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. Well, I just realized that my mouth is feeling kind of dry, so I'm going to pop one of these because we were sent these moisturizing tablets. If you were listening to the podcast for the last few weeks, we had an ad for these guys. They're called Xylodent, and they're like vegan, kosher, all natural tablets that help you with your dry mouth. I just realized my mouth is kind of dry, so I'm going to try one on pod. And oh, that's wild.
You wet?
It's like an ocean wave just smacked me in the face. That's really good. These are wintergreen. They're naturally flavored, and it freshens your breath too. So it's like a breath mint, but one that actually activates your saliva glands.
Hmm.
And now I'm like I'm not drooling, but
Could you
that's great.
gleek? Could you gleek after some Xylodent?
What's a gleek?
A gleek is I could never do it, but it's when you can like kind of squirt
Oh, I know
spit
what
out of your mouth almost like a snake venom.
because you lift your tongue and then it shoots out from underneath your tongue.
Yeah.
Probably, but I'm not going to try. I'm going to sip a little water because now I have so much saliva that I actually need to wash it down. Gross.
What is it, like xylodent.co?
It's at xylodent.co, and you can use our code
I think Weed and Grub.
Weed and Grub. We'll put it in the show notes. And thank you guys. This has been really like a cool little collaboration. I'm always excited when someone wants to advertise on our podcast, and then they send us stuff to try. And I'm going to try another one because it's delicious. Here we go.
Nice.
Xylodent. Thanks
That's
for
a nice thing
sponsoring
to
us,
keep
guys.
in your car too. You know, like I've been driving around a lot, just drinking Starbucks coffees.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I've brushed my teeth in some gas stations recently and spit into the
Ew.
fucking alley.
Life on the road is a comic.
Yo, man. So having something like that would actually be a real nice thing to have.
Yeah, I think it's not just for cottonmouth. It would definitely be good for like before a job interview when you get all nervous or whatever, you know?
Oh my gosh. When
Yeah.
when your mouth goes dry.
When you're like, what am I going to say?
You should give it to Bobo, your cat.
Oh my God, Bobo.
Maybe that'll help him with some hairballs.
Listen, I woke up this morning and Bobo was doing that cat yowl thing, you know, where they're like, whoa, like something's wrong. It's not just hungry. And I couldn't figure out what's going on. This fucking cat is 20 years old. Like he's got so many issues. I'm never sure which one it is. He had food. He looked fine. He didn't look to be in pain or anything. And then finally I figured out that he was just cold.
He had old man bones.
He had old man bones, and it's a little chilly for LA, basically. I hadn't turned the heat on, and I was all tucked up, all warm in bed, but I wasn't letting him under the covers because, you know, sometimes poop falls out of his butt, and that's just disgusting. And he was just cold. So I turned on the heat for him, and now Bobo's snoozing in a toasty living room. But I was thinking about that Korean movie, Old Boy.
Uh-huh.
I was like, we should do a remake with Bobo as the star and call it Cold Boy. Or at least do like a fake trailer for it of like, you know, of him like as the dude, the vengeance guy.
Yeah.
He's like seeking revenge.
He's like going under the covers like it's the tunnel, and he's
Yeah.
he's the old guy with the claws
Yeah.
who's like ready to strike.
Cold Boy. Bobo is Cold Boy. Anyway, yeah, that was how I woke up. Not great.
Do you want to get to the news or should I talk Hawaii? Where do you want to go next?
Well, we have to wrap pretty soon, so let's do the news real quick.
Okay.
And
Because it's a crazy news story.
it's a crazy story. I think I initially saw it reported in Ganjapreneur, but it's kind of all over the place. It's that Raw Rolling Papers was sued by another company called Republic Brands, who basically took it all the way to a federal court and has forced Raw and HBI International, the parent company, to stop using a ton of their marketing techniques, including saying that their papers are made in a certain town in Spain.
They're organic.
That they're organic, that they're refined, that they're made from pure hemp. That the owner of Raw, his name
Invented.
is Josh Kesselman, I believe.
Sorry to step on his name. Please say it again so people don't fuck with it.
No, it's all right. I mean, that he invented the cone, and I think the weirdest of all the things was that there was supposedly a charity that Raw was donating to, and evidently the charity didn't exist. So it was a lot of fallacy to market a product. And it is worth noting that it was a competitor that took this to court and pushed this all the way through. So obviously they are benefiting from it. So I don't think it's a good guy, bad guy situation necessarily. I think it's obviously some fucking sharky business as well. But they were able to prove all of this, all of these things that they were using for marketing were not true. And they've basically been Raw has been ordered to cease and desist using any of those sayings or tactics to market their products, which is wild.
Yeah, I understand that it is a business move for Republic to kind of take the lead.
Yeah.
Because Raw has been on top for so long. Mm-hmm. But also, Raw fucking lied. They lied about everything, and they lied and took people's money. And so I understand that there is a competition there, but I also think you're a fucking liar, and we're trying to get people out of prison. We are trying to make something federally legal. We are trying to get medical, like in ways that when I was in Hawaii, the medical game there is out of control. It is not great.
Yeah,
and
let's
so,
get
like,
into Hawaii a
I'll
little
get
bit.
I'll get into it in a second, but I just want to say, like, there is no area for me that has a defense for Raw, and I'm not sure why I should defend them, or I haven't heard anyone defend them either. So,
right.
at the end of the day.
The one point that I keep hearing made is that it was a competitor. It was Republic Brands that, filed this lawsuit, and we should pay attention to that as well. But, I mean, I just looked him up. I just Googled him really quickly, and his net worth is, this was in 2022, his net worth was an estimated $48 million. So we don't need to be feeling sorry for this guy.
No.
And,
also, if that's a competitor that it took, that's because they had the money behind it. Mm-hmm. It was a business move, maybe, but also, like, it wouldn't have been anyone else who would have been able to do that and take it all the way to federal court. I don't think.
Yeah, no one else would have cared.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know if you don't want to fuck with Raw anymore because of that. There are so many good brands out there. The competitor, obviously, Republic Brands, would love you to buy any of their products, but there are amazing products that are small and community owned. I love a paper that's called Zach's Rolling Papers. I'll put a link in the show notes. They're like a small company started by like a young entrepreneur on the East Coast. I saw somewhere on Instagram someone just shouting out all of the different papers that you can buy that don't support any massive corporations. So I don't know, do a little digging around and maybe, buy local. Buy
local, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's hear about Hawaii, Mike. What was the time like?
It was amazing. I brought the bag just to show. Shout out to Allie, who flew me out there for Hawaiian Island Cannabis Cup, the very first ever. Congratulations to all of you. I'll just go through it very quickly.
Yeah.
Check out all the weed in here.
Let me see. Oh my goodness, the bounty. Wow. That's awesome.
So I learned a lot. There was a lot of great, and there was some things that were just so out of our control that I would really love to go back to Hawaii to do my job. So it was the first cup. They had sold like hundreds of tickets. It was going to be outdoors on this farm.
Yeah.
There was like 100 vendors, poke, drinks, chamoy, rolled fruit, like just great stuff, great music, fire dancers. I was going to do stand-up comedy, and the rain wouldn't stop. I had no idea. I thought if you were surrounded by the ocean, then all of the water was below. I didn't know that the water would also come from the sky. I had no clue how rainy Hawaii is.
Islands are often very rainy, especially the tropics.
No clue.
Yeah.
Because it's like sunny and sweet, and the sun is always out. So I really assumed that.
You thought it was going to be more like LA weather?
I really did.
Yeah.
And so, I'm just going to be straightforward. I didn't get to do stand up everything got rained out. It's really important to me to go back, especially because while I was there, Allie, who's the one who contacted me and made this all possible, thank you, Allie. We did get to spend a lot of time smoking, and I was learning a lot about how medical is done. I met a lot of medical patients there. There's a lot of vets who live in Hawaii. It's wild how important this plant is to all of these people, and I don't see enough, especially living here in LA, of that kind of I guess I'll say boots on the ground, kind of going into where cannabis is needed most and used by people to really stay alive. And so that was so. I feel very fortunate to have connected with all of them. I asked Allie if I could share a little bit of her story and everything she said, and she said that's no problem. So thank you, Allie, because she has a disease called Steven Johnson's disease, and I looked it up just to double check what she was saying with what I was reading, and it is heinous. And she smokes a half ounce to an ounce a day.
Wow.
Because if you want to look up Steven Johnson's disease, I recommend reading it, Googling the images. I'll give a little warning on. But essentially, she was on all of this medication prescribed by a doctor, and all of it was mixing together, and it was a cocktail that was having disastrous results. And that gave her Steven Johnson's disease, which starts as irritation and rashes on your body and then turns into blisters, and then your skin falls off. And she couldn't get a hold of it, and it happened to her 3 times. She ended up in the ER 3 times with her skin falling off. And she has stomach issues, and all of this is to say now the disease is under control. I don't know if you can be in remission. I'm not sure how any of that works, but weed is a magical plant for her and so many others. And so she straddles that line between working that corporate job for this cannabis farm and doing marketing and doing all of those things, but also being a part of this deeply connected medical community in Hawaii that is fighting to get the Hawaiian government to change how in shambles it is. Because I learned everybody in Hawaii, on each island, you can't sell between islands.
Whoa.
Which is so crazy to me. So each island has to have its own farms.
Okay.
Each island has to have its own dispensaries, but there's only 3 dispensaries allowed per island.
Okay.
So I was in Honolulu, Oahu, and it took me about an hour and a half to drive from one end to the other, from my hotel to there. So 3 dispensaries, an hour and a half drive across the island. And if you have cancer or you can't get out of bed, and you have to get to one of these 3 dispensaries wherever they are, and it can only be you who picks it up. It can't be a nurse.
And they don't deliver?
It can't be a caretaker. There's no delivery allowed.
Whoa, that's nuts.
It's unbelievable.
Whoa.
So thank you for creating the space for me to kind of go on a bit of a soapbox about how wild it was to be in there, how excited I am to have all of this great flower, how great it was to meet everyone, and also learn that there's some real problems with how the medical policies are being rolled out. And we talked a lot about how LA is also a disaster, how we're all kind of looking to New York with a lot of hope. But the things that they're fighting for is to let someone else pick up your weed for you if you're a medical patient, like a nurse or a caretaker, to have more dispensaries so that you can support more small businesses, to have a way for these farms to use the surplus of beautiful weed. I'd like to I don't know if we can post some pictures on IG of it or not, but every single plant was green. There was no mites on it. There was none of those things. It was just healthy, outdoor, bomb weed. And
do you know what the home grow situation is?
Home grow, I don't know the exact amount of plants, but they do have
They
home
have
grow.
home grow. Okay,
Yes.
well, that's one silver lining, I guess,
Totally.
to having the medical program, because like there are some states that have tried to legalize without home grow, and they keep getting shot down because it's the most important thing. If you're a patient, you should be able to grow your own medicine. Yeah, so that's great to
Exactly.
hear that they have home grow, but that's so crazy that they don't allow delivery and they don't allow a caregiver to pick up your cannabis prescription for you. That's absolutely nuts.
Yeah, at the grow we went to, it uses like lava rock and stuff too.
Oh, wow.
And so it was really cool to like put your hands in the earth
Yeah.
and feel the soil of Hawaii being used to grow these plants. It was
That's
really cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm excited to learn more and go back to Hawaii with you.
I think
I'm
it's an
gonna
important thing to
piggyback
put on people's
your next-
radars.
yeah,
Yeah,
on your next
please.
trip, I would love to come with you because I've never been to Hawaii. I have a dear friend, shout out Sarah at Love Rumble, who lives on Oahu, and I've always wanted to go and visit and learn about the cannabis scene and meet the patients and Like the original medical programs are the reason that we have legal weed in the first place. And corporate cannabis fucking forgets about that all the time. And I remember, one of the biggest deals for me working cannabis events when I was with High Times and I would go to the cannabis cups were the patients who would show up, so many of them using, walkers or like truly like chronic patients with physical disabilities, and the cannabis made it possible for them to be even like move around, and they would come to these events and they were so excited to meet people like Danny Danko or anyone who could like teach them about growing their medicine, and they were so like that community is the reason that we have legal weed in the first place. And and then when you go to like these fancy fucking cannabis parties where everyone's like there to make their millions off it, it's forgetting about all those people.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So, I really hope they do a second annual one.
Yeah.
I hope the sun is out. I hope it's beautiful time.
Yes.
I hope the mud doesn't come up to anyone's knees. And I just want to say thank you to everyone, and especially Allie, for giving me the opportunity to come to Hawaii, and I can't wait to come back.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And there was one other thing. Oh, the snorkeling is out of control, and I went on a hike and almost died. Anyway, would you want to get to Buds of the Week?
Let's get to Buds of the Week, because I want to get into the hike where you almost died, but I don't. We're kind of out of time. So
yeah, I almost died.
I'm so glad you're okay.
Thank you.
I'm glad you came back to us, Mike.
Thank you.
Yes,
I appreciate that.
absolutely.
So, do you want to go first or second? Because my buds are pretty obvious.
Okay. I will go first because my bud of the week is our friend Stuart.
Yeah.
At Stuart Blair on Twitter. Although I just saw that Stuart has moved off of Twitter and was post. I didn't even know what this new platform is. It's called Counter.social.
Oh, I don't know it.
It's one of the alternatives. I'm on Mastodon for anyone who cares. I mean, I'm not even on there because I don't know how it works. But so Stuart is now on Counter Social. But if you go to his at Stuart Blair Twitter account, then you can hop on over to his link from there. And Stuart, man, thank you. Like, you've lit up my heart so many times with, your messages and emails and care packages, and then meeting you in person and just like seeing your face in the audience as we were doing our super fun show. It was just dope. So thank you so much for being a bud of the decade and my bud of this week.
A bud of the decade is right.
An OG bud.
OG bud.
Yeah.
My bud of the week this week, it's three-peat. I'm actually going to take the time that I need to find one of their names. But in the meantime, of course it's Allie.
Yeah.
Of course it's Jen. And let me find, it's Victoria.
This is the couple who got engaged at SF Sketchfest at Weed and Grub Live, and they are just the freaking cutest.
Man, I think everyone is cool because they're not on Instagram. I think that's like the new cool thing to me. I'm blown away because I'm like looking and I'm like, Jen, like her fiance's not even on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I guess at this point, my bud of the week this week is officially Allie 4M Callie, Allie Klein. Camp Hair, don't care. Allie is ALLIE. 4 is the number, and then M Callie. Allie 4M Callie. And Allie Klein, congrats to you. Congrats to Jen. Thank you for coming to the show.
Yeah.
You're another decade bud.
Yeah, OG bud now.
Love is real. Love is in the air.
In the firmament, man. Do you think it's Allie for McCallie?
Oh.
Oh boy, let's hit this joint and get out of here. Follow us at Weed and Grub on Instagram. Follow our TikTok, Mike and Mary Jane. We drop episodes on YouTube every week so you can see what we look like and see some of the products and things that we bring into the studio and enjoy on pod. Like Xylodent, check them out. I'll put that link in the show notes. And the great weed. Thank you for all of the bounty that you brought for us to share this week, Mike. And if you have time to leave us a review wherever you listen to this podcast, it really helps us. Our listenership is growing, which is very exciting. We're about to break a big number that we'll share when we do. Mm-hmm. And, it just really helps to drop some stars and leave a review and let us know. Also, if you want to email us at wg@weedandgrub.com, what you want to hear about. What do you love when we talk about, do you love the dumb stuff? Do you want to hear more about federal cannabis policy?
Maybe you do. Yeah, maybe you do.
Guys, I'm going to university. I'm going to learn important things. So I'll share more about that next week, maybe when I officially can. But
cool.
I'm going to have important dry knowledge to share.
Great. I'll keep coming up with tuna marmalade recipes, and you keep coming through with some real heat. Bert Kreischer, we're coming for you this year. I haven't forgotten. So please, if you like this pod, tell a bud, because I'm trying to overtake Bert Kreischer's spot on the podcast charts. That's my
Yep.
goal this year.
Can I close with a joke from my very short set at SF Sketchfest?
Oh, yeah. Is it a baked potato joke?
It's a baked potato joke. I had a short appearance as the baked potato in the middle of the show, and Mike helped me write some material, and one of my jokes was, sorry I'm yammering, but people tell me I've got a lot of appeal.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Happy Valentine's Day. Bye.